All right, my friends, how are you today? Hopefully, everyone has been enjoying this full moon lunar eclipse energy. It's the longest lunar eclipse we've had in 580 years, the greatest lunar eclipse of our lifetime. And this dealing with the shadow side, the sun and the shadow side of Scorpio. How do we deal with power struggles? Are we facing our own shadow? The moon was over there in the sign of Taurus, which deals with money, which deals with material goods. Also dealing with material possessions. What do we find our comforts? Uranus there in Taurus as well, first time since 1934. Well, that's when it entered anyway. While we're on this for a quick moment, because now the moon's moved into Gemini. All right, moon's moved into Gemini over the weekend until Sunday night. So we're going to talk about Friday, Saturday, into Sunday here. The moon's going to journey through Gemini, which is taking a different look, taking a different perspective on things, a different way to think about things than maybe we're used to. Now, 1934, last time Uranus was in Taurus, was when the SEC was created and officially stamped that the stock market exchange was real currency. Now, it's kind of interesting. Before this channel, I had another YouTube channel with a friend of mine for a little bit of time about cryptocurrency and astrology. The cryptocurrency people did not very much care for my astrological takes on it. However, it's very relevant. Uranus moving into Taurus was a huge sign that something was going to change with our financial infrastructure and how we exchange money, goods, and services. Especially with the North Node in Gemini this year, which is not just communication, but Mercury the mercantile. Mercantile is how we exchange goods and services. Just a couple days before this eclipse, Staples Center in Los Angeles changed its name to Crypto.com Center. And a lot of people are upset about this, but this is a telltale sign that crypto is not going away anytime soon. And if you look, I don't have it pulled up in front of me right now, but if you look at the crypto chart, how Bitcoin was, now Bitcoin and cryptocurrency became popular or was created at the end of 2008 when Pluto entered Capricorn. Okay, we have to change how we govern ourselves as a whole, and we're moving into a worldly currency as we're entering the age of Aquarius. We're moving into a collective way of communicating, using technology, collective way of transferring goods. Something I talked about a little bit ago, one of my first trips to Peru. The exchange rate, and just for them to exchange my money, my thousand, it was a hypothetical $1,000. They were going to give me back, like $775. So it's just like, okay, so just by exchanging hands, I lost quite a bit of money in that scenario. So it's like, well, I'm not here to push crypto, but there's a new way of thinking about this stuff. Okay, this stuff is very real. And if we look at that chart from when 2008, when Pluto entered Capricorn, the transformation of how we govern ourselves, money is concerned with this as well. The lines like this, there's not a lot going on. When Uranus moved into Taurus in 2018, it was a rocket ship. The crypto market took off and blew up. Okay. Now, by looking at the charts, which I still do, I don't talk about crypto a whole lot on this channel, but it is a very relevant thing in our world right now. It's going on. When Jupiter had entered Pisces, the crypto market took a pretty big dip. It is a hypothesis. I don't want to just full on say that it's going to happen, but that next year's 2022, the crypto market will take a decent dip. And that's normal. It's going to happen. Things go up and down. Things fluctuate. But either way, this stuff is here to stay. This is a whole different way of dealing with money, a whole different way of exchanging goods and services. It's almost In a similar way, going back, it's like the African beads. These beads were once of value to Africa. This is how we exchanged. It was a fair exchange of money. It's like, I have X amount of bananas, you have X amount of blueberries. We're going to figure out a way to barter and exchange for ourselves. And this is a difficult thing for people that are very used to the paper dollar. All right, but we have this new perspective, new ways of looking at things, new ways of communicating, new ways of dealing, new ways of trading that is going to be coming up. And it's going to take some time. Uranus is still going to be moving through Taurus until 2026. So we have time for this to happen. And as well as the North Node here is 1 degree of Gemini moving into Taurus. The moon conjunct the North Node today. It's certainly something that is relevant and worthy of talking about. Now, the moon moved into Gemini today, conjunct the North Node. We have been dealing with a lot, my friends, the dark night of the soul, a dark week of the soul, a lot of changes going on, a lot has been coming up from beneath the surface. That's the beauty of Scorpio energy. Things from the beneath the surface. The sun here is illuminating what's beneath the surface. We are talking about the things that we've been buried down inside. We are taking active steps to clear out the closet, to clear this stuff out. We talked about this a lot on the full moon eclipse video. So now we have the moon in Gemini. It's a need to look at both sides of the scenario, two different perspectives. This is my perspective. This is your perspective. This is, there's your right, there's my right. Is there really a right? The moon deals with our emotions. Just because we feel something doesn't mean it's there. We can feel alone. We can feel isolated. We can feel unworthy. We can feel unloved. Does that mean that that's the truth? Now we have Mars here creating this little triseptile here to the moon during this time. This is about 3 a.m. on Saturday, so this is going to happen, depending on where you're at, later today, early in the morning, later at night, midnight for my friends in Los Angeles. Septile here to the moon, emotional moon, seeking different ways of looking at things, different perspectives. The moon creating a sextile, easy flow of energy to Chiron. So this is healing ourselves. And we say, why did, coming from this Taurus full moon and what we value and what we find as our comforts, those things are up for serious change this week. Hopefully there's been a release of pressure, alleviating some pressure in one way or another in our lives. And now we can look and say, why, it's like this. It's something we've shared about before. Our positive mind will cross the street without looking both ways into oncoming traffic. Our negative mind will make sure we never take a step off of the sidewalk. We have fear that we keep as protection for ourselves. And we deal with fear a lot, considering Mars, home in Scorpio. Mercury in Scorpio right now, the underlining things that are going on beneath the surface in the operating system. The sun is here to illuminate this stuff for the last couple of days in Scorpio before it moves into Sagittarius, and connecting with the South Node is all about release. So these next couple of days, and really this next 2 weeks leading up to our final eclipse of the year, because it will be a South Node solar eclipse, it's all about letting go. This next journey of the moon is all about letting go, the moon and the sun here. Letting go of old philosophies, letting go of old ideas that no longer serve us, letting go of ideologies, creating new ways to educate, inform people, new ways for a lot of things in life. But we're stuck, and that's what Uranus's job here is to do, is to alleviate that stuck energy. We've been stuck in this kind of a way, and now we have to get our minds right. Why did I find comfort in what I found comfort in? I found comfort in this, and to hold on to this idea, to hold on to this thought. This protected me at one point in time. To have this fear in my life, or this mental awareness of something, it kept me safe. Yeah, I used to believe that if I pull the covers up all over my head, the boogeyman wouldn't get me. It's like, that's not really the case anymore. So do I, this is it's a silly thing, but you know what I mean? It's, the things that we did out of fear to protect us, do they still serve us? Or are they inhibiting us? Are they enabling us to stay small when we really are leading toward expansion and group and community expansion and expanding beyond the beliefs of what we known could be possible of how good life could be? So we keep things in our mind, we keep things in the forefront of our frontal lobes or conscious mind or even subconscious mind. And we steer away from these things because this is what's protected us in the past from being hurt, from making wrong decisions. And we find comfort in these things. And why do we find comfort? Or what do we do, value? What are we valuing? Venus, the ruling planet associated with Taurus, where all this energy has been the past couple of days, is in Capricorn, where it's very serious. And Saturn's energy of Capricorn is putting the pressure on sweet little Venus and is saying, do you need this? Do you need that crutch? Do you really need more NyQuil? Do you need more DayQuil? Do you need whatever this thing is? Have you healed? Have we healed? What do we need to do to value our life? Okay? Now, here's the thing. If we're going through some muck right now, in any way at all, we have to take a look at what is self and what is another. We judge and we compare ourselves to other people's success, our own failures, our own symmetry or beauty, or how we look, talk, sound, how much money we have, the clothes that we wear, all this stuff. We naturally judge. This is in our mind, okay? And it's just like, are we holding thoughts in our head and not living our fullest because of some thought or fear that's based on an outside source? And if so, it's time to identify it. It's time to alleviate that thought, that thing, and especially it's dealing with other people. Why don't I feel worthy? Oh, nobody paid attention to me. Nobody commented on my video. You know what I mean? We have all kinds of things that we can psych ourselves up into it, but it's like, is this really dealing with an outside source? This is internal. This is me. This is my journey with myself. I have to be my own best friend. I have to be. I have to love myself. I have to enjoy the expansion of growing and learning. It's like age 1, this is the baby, the infant baby. This is Aries. Age 2, me, my, I, mine, Taurus. Age 3, we start to develop our brains. We start to really think. We can now communicate. We can talk. Here's a funny thing. When I first started into the film industry, one of my first jobs for a big network was for ESPN, and it was for pro bowling. This is pro bowling, and this perspective of this bowler that I was following, and he was an Australian guy, and it was so fun to listen to him talk. I mean, in America we enjoy bowling, but it's like this Kingpin. Just in the movie Kingpin with Woody Harrelson and Bill Murray. It's like a beer drinking, throw the ball down the lane and have some fun kind of thing. It's not viewed a lot as like this very serious sport. And we have this Australian guy, forgive me, my Australian friends, if I slaughter the accent, but he's like, bowling is the most difficult sport in the world because you're playing an invisible slick and you don't know your opponent. And it was like this, it was mind-blowing to hear this guy talk about bowling being the hardest sport in the world. To him, that's his perspective, and he's absolutely allowed to have that perspective. And this is a way that he can build himself up as being one of the greatest bowlers in the world. It's not me versus my enemy, the other person. It's me versus the slick. And now it's up to me to determine how to throw the ball just right to get, the strike every time. So it was really funny, but this was his perspective, and it was the most challenging thing, and that's why he geared his mind toward. Albert Einstein had his mind geared toward light, had a hard time grasping quantum physics. This came later in his life, and we learned a lot about that. And we've talked a lot about Albert Einstein and quantum physics here in the past 17, 18 months that the moon has, or the North Node has been in the sign of Gemini, because the only way that we are able to discern this particle wave theory, again, this group believed they saw only particles at the base of all matter. This group saw only waves. So they came under the same microscope, the same study, looked at the exact same thing, and the waves saw only waves, particles saw only particles. And it says, well, we're looking at the same microscope, we're looking at the same thing, we're looking at the same life. The difference is our perspective. You're looking through your eyes at me. I'm looking through my eyes at a camera right now. We all have our own unique perspective on something. Is today a beautiful day? It's sunny outside. Is it beautiful? Is it grimy? Is it, this is our own unique perspective, and we're entitled to our own unique perspective, and we're allowed to celebrate it. And oftentimes, or sometimes, what happens in the world is society, community, let's look at this here. 8 degrees. What else is 8 degrees? Saturn here in the sociable sign of Aquarius. The pressure. Well, if you're not living up to my standards, I don't know if you're really worthy of healing. If if you don't share the same political, social views that I have, you're wrong, and you should feel ashamed of yourselves for not believing or thinking the way that I do. It's like, are you kidding me? We have to expand beyond this, and we're entitled to our own views, our own opinions, our own concepts, our own ideas, and to celebrate our life. And we have this little yod happening here. A yod, the finger of God, 2 quincunxes in a sextile between Mars, Venus, and the moon. This is 3 of our 4 personal planets. At the same time, Mercury creates the sextile to Pluto, changing our mind, Gemini, Mercury, mind. How do we feel about this? If we're allowing other people's perspectives of life to determine our emotional state of being, are we allowing other people's views of life to determine our emotional state of being? If so, can we look at life in a different way? Can we look at that? You're allowed to. You're allowed to view. You can hate me for bringing up cryptocurrency. You can think it's the stupidest thing in the world. I find it important to talk about because it's relevant. All kinds of things. This has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with crypto. This is just our own perspectives. And we're allowed to shift our perspectives. We're allowed to change our minds. We can, and that's the beauty. We can have conversations, these deep down conversations, because Mars is pulling us or pushing us in this direction, saying, yes, it's okay. I encourage you to explore the cave. I encourage you to explore the depths of yourself, to learn about yourself, to learn about your own mind, to learn about our own fears that have protected us and kept us safe for some times. And now we can explore the idea that maybe this has been limiting me and holding me back. Maybe I can explore that the celebrity or the individual that I valued, for so long that doesn't know anything about grocery shopping or cleaning a toilet has, maybe I've really valued their words and hung up on that perspective and tried to model my life after that. It's like, are they really planted in this very real physical world? We're allowed to change our perspectives and say, wow, you know what? I value myself. In the great words of Snoop Dogg, I want to thank me for being me. So we have this really powerful connections happening. It's like the eclipse and Friday's energy connecting with the North Node, allowing us to really explore and be playful in not only the creative process, but just looking at the duality of nature, looking at life and saying like, wow, over here when I did, if I started this channel with the goal of becoming YouTube famous, that's the wrong reasons to do this. Out of what kind of, what purpose is that? If we're starting something to gain a financial or material possession, or are we doing something because we find joy in it? So we have a lot of energies together. Why do we value what we value? Let's go in this direction. Let's really explore it. Let's put it on the table. Is holding on to memories from 20, 30 years ago, 6 months ago, whatever, does this serve me purpose right now where I'm at? And then we get to move forward here into Sunday. And now we have this beautiful connection between the moon and Jupiter, where we do get to understand a little bit more now as we have this sesqui square. There's all these interestingly difficult aspects. Now look at this. We have another yod, the finger of God. The finger of God is pointing toward the moon. Okay, it's here. It's Pluto, transformation is the base. Mercury, our mind, is the base. This is the sextile between Pluto and Mercury, the base. The Sun at the anaretic degree, the critical 29th degree. It's saying, please, children, please learn these lessons. Explore yourself, explore your minds before we move into this next phase of life. Squeeze every drop out of this orange before you throw the peel away. Squeeze, it's like, just drink in all we can, sitting with this darkness, sitting with these feelings. Trevor Hall, there's no rushing a healing. Darkness has its teachings. So Pluto, Mercury, how we think about things, transformation of our mind, transformation of these deep wounds, these deep concepts, these deep power struggles, letting go of stuff, seeking a new way, a new alternative way, because there's always, every time a door closes, a window opens. I'm pretty sure everyone has heard that term before. And then further, it's saying, look, we have other people. We have a community, a social support group of other people that, yes, do love you, do appreciate you. You are not alone. We are all in this together. And it might mean that we have to take the initiative. Mars, Venus, I value. What do I value? I might have to take the initiative here to reach out. I might have to take the initiative in communication. I might have to take the initiative to transform my thoughts, to change my emotions and how I feel. Because if I'm not feeling 100% right now, if I'm not feeling and living my best, and if there's something that I'm holding on to, if there's something that I'm doing, if I'm maintaining, keeping my crutches when I don't need them, this is huge time for level up and transformation and saying, look, friend, you don't need those crutches. Maybe what you need is to lean on me. When you're not strong, I'll be your friend. We have people. We have other people we can bounce ideas off of. We have other people in our community that are knowledgeable, that can help lift us up, that can help give us perspective and insight, that can share joy and love and beauty of life. My friends, this is a very, very, very powerful weekend. Again, this whole next 2 weeks leading up to this final eclipse of the year is a doozy. It's a technical astrological term for a whopper. This is big stuff. And if we really allow ourselves to sink into this, if we really allow ourselves to look at different perspectives, and it's just like it's looking through the blinds of our physical reality, through these blinds into the emotional world. And it's just like we get to, kind of evaluate our physical, our emotional, the individual, the collective. And start moving toward what feels good and serves our highest purpose. My friends, have a beautiful, amazing weekend full of intuition and new ideas and beautiful conversations. And I will see you on Sunday night to talk about where the moon is moving next as it moves home into Cancer. We'll see you then.